Hey guys, today we are driving the all-new 2022 Acura MDX. So far we've taken you recently on the new TLX drive, and Acura's done a lot of similar things to this new MDX that they did to the TLX, and that is a very good thing because their new models in their lineup are proving to be very competitive in their segments. So this is a 3-row SUV. It's powered by a 3.5-liter V6. It's naturally aspirated. We have a 10-speed automatic transmission, super handling all-wheel drive, and today we are in an A-Spec package, which is a little bit sportier, a little bit more racy looking inside and out. We've got some beautiful finishing, beautiful surfaces, contrast red stitching, and of course we have Acura's new one-to-one touch system, very similar to what's in the RDX and TLX, just marginally improved over time. We have wireless Apple CarPlay, even though we are plugged in today. And one of the best sound systems, this ELS Premium 3D Audio, is one of the best sound systems I've heard in any car at any price. It's absolutely mind-blowing. We have a lot of updates to this new MDX. This isn't going to be a full review. We'll cover that in a later video. But I wanted to give you guys some first impressions on what this thing is like to drive today. We have a cool new feature in the second row where you can actually remove the center seat. So you can have captain's chairs with easy access to the third row. And actually, let's take you back there and show you what it looks like. It's actually pretty spacious. Very similar sizing to the previous gen MDX. You can actually squeeze a couple adults back there, and of course, no problem for kids. Getting in and out is very easy with the way the seat folds forward. And of course, in the second row, you've got plenty of room. You can remove this seat just by pulling up on this, and that comes out. And of course you can fold this up to become a seat by just pulling that lever right there. Very simple, very straightforward. But let's leave that down. It kind of looks good as a cup holder. Rear climate control, a nice big panoramic sunroof. We've got manual sunshades just like in the last MDX. And look at the design of this car. This is really quite impressive. I love the way it looks. It's sharp, it's angular, really big improvement. The side profile design gives this a lot sleeker of a look, at least from the side. I love the front end, the headlights. The grille is aggressive, very in keeping with Acura's recent design language. And of course this A-Spec looks fantastic with all of the blacked out trim and wheels. In the back here we can see the third row. You've got a reasonable amount of space back there, and these are pretty easy to fold down right here. Very seamless, folds flat. Got a split level cargo area here, spare tires underneath. You've got some storage room here. All of your jack and funnel and all that stuff is underneath there. Super easy to operate these seats, but actually let's fold this headrest down for now, just so I can see a little bit easier out of the back seat. A lot of cargo space. Very usable as a 3-row SUV. All right, let's take this thing for a drive. It's been very interesting following Acura's journey with updating a lot of their recent vehicles. I think they've brought the RDX and the TLX into a really competitive space with all the changes that they've been doing, and I think that's the same case here with this new MDX. We have a nice high-res reverse camera, moving lines, no more of this dual monitor screen setup. We have physical buttons and knobs for climate controls. Again, Acura is absolutely nailing the ergonomics in a lot of their modern vehicles. This touchpad I actually really like, except for in Apple CarPlay. It operates like a traditional touchpad setup then. But when you're in the main infotainment, it's a one-to-one and it works super well. This one feels even further refined from the RDX and the TLX that I drove recently. You can swipe, you have really intelligent use of controls, and once you get the hang of it, it's super easy to use. Let's go into Waze here, and we will set off. couple different gauge display modes too, which is kind of cool. So if you go in, you can change the gauge layout from advanced, which gives you that side view. I kind of prefer the circular gauges. Super handling all-wheel drive is updated too, and we have some big changes on the suspension front. Before we had a McPherson strut up front, now we have double wishbone front suspension and multi-link rear, which has also been updated. Basically, that translates to this being a very nice handling and riding car. I'm glad that they've retained the 3.5 liter V6. We still have 290 horsepower. They've done quite a bit of work to refine the NVH here. This 10-speed is butter smooth. I'm surprised at how lightweight the steering is in this MDX. I might go as far as to say it's a little bit too light. This is also an adaptive steering rack, so the ratio changes depending on your speed. If you're at low speed in parking or city driving environments, Acura changes the steering ratio so you don't have to turn the wheel hand over hand as much, which is kind of nice. Let's do a braking test and a 0 to 60 while we're just cruising here. Brakes feel nice and strong. And this V6 still sounds very healthy. Makes good noises. That was even in normal mode. We also have sport. Play around with the paddle shifters a bit. A lot more responsive than the previous gen MDX. I might even go as far to say that this is a fun crossover to drive now. Let's go back into sport mode. You can really feel the difference with the suspension. It's so much more willing to turn in. The ride quality is very, very nice over this bumpy section of road. Dynamically, this is a really big improvement over the last gen MDX, and honestly, I think it's kind of class leading in this segment. The Audi was a pretty stiff competition. We drove an Audi Q7 recently, and that did feel really good on a back road. The steering weight was just right, whereas this MDX is a little bit too light for my preference, but the chassis in this MDX actually feels better than the Q7, and I'd even liken it to maybe the BMW X5, which is a pretty high compliment. We've got some clear road in front of us. Let's see how this takes a turn. Put into sport transmission mode. Beautiful. You can feel super handling, all-wheel drive, pull you out of a corner on throttle. There's no understeer, very neutral. And turn-in is so much nicer with that double wishbone front suspension. This is a really sophisticated suspension tuning setup. I'm very impressed with what Acura has done to this MDX dynamically. And the V6 still sings. It's a good power level. It pulls nicely. Traction control isn't kicking in or killing some of the fun. Dynamically, this is a very impressive SUV, you guys. Ride quality is really well tuned. They've done a lot of work to stiffen up the chassis, the suspension mounting points, front and rear. Yeah, just awesome. You go over some of these big bumps and undulations in the road, it's one suspension motion, and that's it. It's really well sorted. All these little changes that Acura has been making to their vehicles really add up to a top-notch driving experience, in my opinion. We even get a pretty nice radar-guided cruise control system and lane centering steering assist system. It works very well in ideal scenarios. On the highway, it works great. It struggles a little bit on back roads, but most systems do. But it's doing a pretty good job keeping me centered. Let's put us back into normal drive mode. Yeah, first impressions on this new MDX are very strong. I'm quite impressed with what Acura has done here. Look at that, no understeer virtually there. Great power, and this V6 just sings. I'm so glad that they didn't go with the 2-liter turbo that's in the TLX. In a big, heavier SUV like this, I think it would feel a little bit asthmatic. Still, this 290 horsepower, even though it doesn't seem like a big number, it feels pretty good in this car. Oh, I love the way this V6 sounds. Let's do an entrance ramp handling test. See how this thing rotates. We're in sport mode. This is just an amazing SUV chassis and suspension tuning setup. The harder you push, the more grip you get out of it, yet it's softly sprung. The suspension tuning here is magic, you guys. This is really good stuff from Acura. I am very impressed. All the understeer that used to be present in super handling all-wheel drive systems is completely dialed out by this double wishbone front suspension, and there's just so much grip. There's even some rotation on turn-in. Get the rear end to kick out a little bit. Really enjoyable, really good to drive. I'm very impressed. There just aren't many SUVs that I've driven that are this well poised around a corner. I'm even finding myself pretty happy using the paddle shifters in this car. The grip here is just insane. Well, the video speaks for itself. You guys get the idea. Pretty awesome handling SUV. I am very impressed. That's fun. I've got a smile on my face. What else do you want? So we haven't really talked too much about the ELS premium sound system. Let's go in and give that a little bit of a try, because I think that is probably the best part of what is already a fantastic overall SUV. just incredible. I feel like I am living in the sound in this car. It's so clear, and then once the bass hits, it's just a really phenomenal sound system. Class leading, and actually just one of the best sound systems I've heard in any vehicle at any price point.
Ride with me if you ride with me, you can slide with me if you feel like 550 on the 5 sticky, come get high with me, that's a deal, right? Ride with me if you ride.
Really, the only way you can compare this ELS 3D surround sound is to other Acuras that have the similar system. I think it's better than the TLX, and I think it's better than the RDX. So, is this the best sound system I've ever heard in a new car? I think it is. It's pretty amazing. I wish I could play some of the copyrighted soundtracks they included on the USB stick in here. But really, you just have to kind of go and experience this for yourself. It's a worthy upgrade from the standard sound system, which is still fantastic. I believe this is the 16 speaker at the top of the line, and it is just absolutely mind-blowing. So, can't really say enough good things about the sound system in this. It is, I think, reason alone to buy this car. This is a really engaging overall package. Dynamically, Acura's done a really good job tuning this car and setting it up. It offers a really nice blend of modern tech and usability and minimal distractions. You still have buttons and knobs and physical controls for everything that you need to use. And this touchpad can get a little bit tedious within Apple CarPlay, but that's the only place where it's a little bit difficult to use. In the main infotainment and throughout Acura's system, it works really well. And you get Amazon Alexa with this new Acura TLX, and there she is. So you can use a bunch of different prompts and basically just kind of say anything that you want. You can play the radio, you can navigate to addresses, do all sorts of things with you-know-who integration. Again, I am very glad that Acura stuck with the V6. Mated with this 10-speed auto, it's a very smooth and surprisingly fun to drive powertrain. It still sounds good, VTEC makes fun noises, and I think the power level here is very nice for what you're getting into. Of course, there will be a Type S later on this year, and with a twin-turbo V6, that should be a pretty potent powertrain. You may also see some hybrid offerings from this in the future too. Who knows? This is an all-new, completely redesigned MDX. I'm sure it holds a pretty promising future. Really, the only thing I don't like about this MDX, I think the steering is just a bit too light for what this car is. But I think you could also go into individual drive mode and change that to your preferences. So you could turn steering into sport, and that would weight things up a little bit for normal driving. Having that adjustability and customization in a car like this is very nice. Getting on the highway, let's test out this radar-guided cruise control. So it'll actually let you follow surprisingly close to traffic in front of you. So we've got it set to, let's set it to 80 miles an hour following this truck. We'll put steering assist on, and it's keeping us very well centered between the lines. Blind spot monitoring works well. You can easily access all of your safety settings right here. There's a button for quick access. You can select what you want and what you don't. I have lane keep assist off, but collision mitigation braking turned on. Very easy to set up that. The radar cruise resumes speed passing vehicles quite well. I don't feel like I'm holding up traffic with the following distances that this sets. Yeah, really top marks for this new MDX. I think we'll wrap things up here and also be sure to check out some of the competitor drives that we've done in the Audi Q7 and the Lexus RX 350L. Interesting to drive both those cars, both vehicles that we haven't really spent a lot of time in, and see how they compare to this new MDX. Thanks for watching, guys. We will see you in the next video. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and stay tuned for some more videos on this channel, TheTopher, and on Winding Road Magazine in the coming weeks. Take care. We'll see you guys later.